Oceanic or challenge so oxy age politics album. Podcast also training because the headlines the gem na it be exubo na any day edu ewram ewo eye court eye Gifty Oware ne scandal no asem onua ene ya demra it be exubo na accused person for the state Yvonne Atakra obu obisa itimi egyina daka mu na otimi ede adansidie anaasɛ evidence bi ɛkyerɛ court a ɛno abɛɛfo kwan so mail a Gifty Oware ɛde sɛndi wɔn mu instructe wɔn mu bank no sɛ ADB bank no sɛ on forward some transaction bi ɛnkɔ ɔno no personal account no omo ɛde mail no ɛbɛdan court a onua me ne wo kasa yi maame no ne ho akyerɛ ɛnyɛ asɛmpoto akora na ɛno ɛna yɛ project flyer no ɛde ato screen so ɛde ama na sei ɛna flyer no ɛka yɛfa free operation recover all loot aso say she was led in evidence in chief by the director of public prosecution Mrs. Yvonne Atakra Obuobisa, who took the court through Mr. Nyako's witness statement, paragraph by paragraph, and got the court to adapt same together with all 10 different exhibits. These exhibits are email attached and several documents detailing how the accused person ordered various transactions to be carried out. Unia, and any item right be exum one. Yamon in simple. Aha, 88 Politics Avenue.
I think that was the case. And the process came to the conclusion that I think about 6 people ought to be tried for infractions of the law. This included the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, and a number of others who worked with him on this particular matter. Now, when it became obvious that he would not make himself available for trial, the Office of Special Prosecutor applied to the court for him to be tried in absentia. The court then directed that he should be served with the charges. From what I know, those charges, the Attorney General is trying to serve him through the Attorney General of the United States of America. And the Attorney General of the United States of America, at one stage, did indicate that it will be served after his immigration case. You understand? So that is where we are. The matter is actually in court. This attempt to extradite Ofori-Atta to Ghana is in relation to only one case, not his general stewardship. Only one case, which is the contract which is awarded to SML. Now, I think that there's too much drama around this case. Too much drama around this case for a number of reasons. Because Ken Ofori-Atta was not just a minister, he was a very special minister. Indeed, the president then spent considerable amount of time and energy praising his cousin. And his cousin was seen as the Jesus Christ of the Akufo-Addo regime. He was the savior of the Akufo-Addo regime and so on. The controversy also involved a majority of members of the New Patriotic Party actually petitioning the president to remove him on grounds of incompetence, and the president's refusal to remove him and so on. So there's a lot of drama around him. Now, the case gets complicated somehow. You know, when the High Court rules that the Office of Special Prosecutor cannot carry out prosecutions without the fiat of the Attorney General, it strengthens Ofori-Atta's hands. Because he's being prosecuted by the Office of Special Prosecutor. And if a High Court in Ghana says that that office cannot prosecute, Ofori-Atta's hands get strengthened You understand? So, for these matters to be resolved quickly, the Supreme Court will have to make a determination as to whether or not the Office of the Special Prosecutor, so motu, can try some criminal offenses. That is very, very important in securing the extradition of Ofuriatta. Okay. Now, what has happened in the US is just that a court has decided that Ken Ofuriatta is qualified as a permanent resident of the US. He's entitled to a green card. That's all that the court has decided. And this has nothing to do with his extradition. Now, it's important to note that even citizens of the US may be extradited. So obtaining a green card does not exempt you from being extradited to Ghana to face trial. Now, I sit back and look at the drama which is unfolding. I look at this theater, so much noise and so on, about this one case involving one individual and so on. And I ask myself, why? Why so much drama and so on about this one individual? Part of it is that the political party to which he belongs, whilst pretending to stand aside in this matter, is actually using his case for politics, to advance what they consider to be a certain political interest. And that is why we have statements like, Sedinam Tamakro has been convicted, he hasn't come, and the government is not worried about that, and they are worried about Ofuriatta and so on. Now Sedinam has arrived, has been extradited, is in Ghana, is serving a sentence. And then, interestingly, the New Patriotic Party and some of its leaders say that, yes, we've heard that she's been brought back, but we haven't actually seen her in the cell. So we want to go to the prison and see her in the cells to believe that she's actually in the cells. You see, Mujib, you should be careful. Ghana's prisons are not zoos. The prisons are not zoos. You understand? And I was talking to one of your leaders. I said, look, are you saying that the whole prison service and its directorate and so on would lie about the performance of their job? And I said, we have no confidence in any state institution. And I said, my goodness, it's a huge statement. If you have no confidence in any state institution, what you're saying is that you don't believe that you are ever coming back to power. You understand? Because whatever you do to come back to power, the police must play its role. The Electoral Commission must play its role. The courts must play their role, and so on. Parliament must play their role. Now, if all of these institutions are appendages of government and cannot be relied upon to perform their functions without bias to your political party, how can you come to power? You understand? So some of the statements your leaders make, some of your leaders make, is exceedingly troubling. But they go out there and they make these statements, and they don't care. They don't even think about the implications of the statements that they make in the public space and so on. Look, I have always said that a person charged and put before court is innocent until proven guilty. But just this morning I was going through the Constitution and I've been proved wrong. There are two conditions. Proven guilty by a competent court or by pleading guilty. That's what the Constitution says. I'll find that person. Oh, somewhere, somewhere. Yes, it says, a person charged with a criminal offense shall be given a fair hearing within a reasonable time by a court. And it says, that person shall be presumed to be innocent until he's proved or has pleaded guilty. So there are two conditions. So if you plead guilty by yourself, that one, there's nothing you can do. You are guilty. Yes. But in the specific case of Ken Ofori-Atta, he has not pleaded guilty and he has not been found to be guilty. So there's a presumption of innocence. And that presumption of innocence entitles him to so many things. You understand? So many things. He has so many rights which will be respected if he himself came into the country. Because of the way he appears to be conducting himself and so on. Now, he has, as they say, worsened this case. Because if he came back to Ghana now, you have an uphill task convincing any court to grant him bail. You understand? Why do you impose this burden upon yourself? If Ken Ofori-Atta had voluntarily come into the country and had been charged and put before court and so on, the likelihood is that he would have been granted bail. And nobody could have kept him in custody for more than 48 hours. You understand? He may not even have been in custody at all. And he probably today will be living a comfortable life with his family as the case proceeds. And then at the end of the case, he may not even be found guilty and he will go home and continue to enjoy his life. But he has complicated matters by the posture he has taken, by his refusal to come home and so on. Now, you have made a statement, your lawyers have made a statement, you yourself have made statements to the effect that you are in the US because you have prostate cancer. Okay, prostate cancer. That's what he has, prostate cancer. And that as soon as, your state of health permits, you are coming back to face the charges that have been prepared against you. Then you go and apply for green card. So what are you saying? Now you want to stay in the United States of America permanently. What does that convey?
It's not about medical condition.
You understand? Besides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us sitting around this table. Which one of us can say that he doesn't know of somebody who is suffering from prostate cancer, who goes to work in Ghana every day, who is leading a normal life? Prostate cancer now does not have debilitating impact on life. People go for surgery, within 1 week they are back to work. You understand? People carry the cancer, they do everything. They drive throttle, and so on. So how is prostate cancer, in his particular case, so debilitating that he has to go and get a green card and stay in the United States of America permanently? I don't understand these things. But maybe persons like you and I, who didn't go to law school, our understanding may be different from those who went to law school. I don't know. But his family, his friends, and so on should have advised him to do the appropriate thing. And stop this prostate cancer story. It doesn't wash. Prostate cancer. I have a friend who had prostate cancer, who underwent surgery, and after surgery was actually bleeding. He was bleeding for a week. I saw the man yesterday driving a truck. He was driving a truck, a fully loaded truck. Prostate cancer. Oh, why? Because
doesn't have the money can have.
But I thought Ken is your friend, so you can
phone him.
and so what?
I said, Jack Brevier.
Who am I?
Then I'll show why.
Who am I? So, I mean, you know all you know people who have condition you claim to have. So to claim the prostate cancer, when you get it, you have to go and get a green card and so on. It's a bit strange.
Maybe green card is the antidote.
We use kind of rather to close the show.
Prostate cancer.
Anyway,
Does ended up in green card.
Thank you very much. At least I can. Okay, I was just trying to look at Nkrumah's preface to the 1956 book, the autobiography. It's lengthy, but there's a point where he says, in this way, self-government was won for Gold Coast. Its independence will be incomplete, however, unless it is linked up with the liberation of other countries in Africa. Ghana now joins the independent states of Egypt, Ethiopia, Liberia, Libya, Morocco, the Sudan, and Tunisia. Elsewhere, the continent is ruled by no less than 6 European powers. Our example must inspire and strengthen those who are still under foreign domination. In this belief, I have written the story of my life so far. If in any way it helps the cause of freedom, it will have served its purpose. That's why he wrote this book, the autobiography of Kwame Nkrumah, and it's titled Ghana. And of course, I've also been showing you the Africa Must Unite book, which is the foundation. In fact, in 1970, he wrote.
I need the I can just carry this one. You will replace it.
1970 from Conakry, he wrote a note. The wave of military coups and the stepping up of imperialist and neo-colonialist aggression in Africa since 1963, when Africa Must Unite was first published, have proved conclusively the urgent need for political unification. No single part of Africa can be safe or free to develop fully and independently while any part remains unliberated, or while Africa's vast economic resources continue to be exploited by imperialist and neo-colonialist interests. Unless Africa is politically united under an all-African Union government, there can be no solution to our political and economic problem. The thesis of Africa Must Unite remains unassailable. That was in 1970. He wrote the book in 1963. And I was still convinced in 1970 that everything he wrote, in fact, the circumstances then convinces him that he was right about everything he wrote in this book. So you can get this book and his many other books for yourself. Just go to the Freedom Bookshop. You can find them at 16 Momo Close, Asylum Down, near Apollo Theatre, Circle Accra.
I'm buying 5 of the autobiography and the Africa Must Unite. Okay. Unite, rather.
Okay.
To the 5, I think 5 most dedicated followers of this program.
5?
Yes.
5 each. Okay. That will be difficult.
So that's 10.
You have no idea. But we'll find.
So that's 10. Africa Must Unite.
This is not even
viewers. I have more than 1,000 dedicated viewers of this program. You want to get
we'll find out.
So
now we'll get.
They will find a way of
sponsorship.
We ain't some of the team course or channel, so I'm not so dear brother. Send us a body that we do.